a function with a graph that is not a straight line is a non-linear function. This is just a definition that I want you to understand. Non-linear, not a line. The graph of a non-linear function would not be a straight line. Okay? And usually, whenever you see something squared, that's when we get nonlinear functions. Anything raised to something besides the first power would be a nonlinear function. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find h of 4. And the way we do this is the exact same way we did in the previous example. H of 4, to do that, I'm simply going to replace my x, or my t, h of t is now h of 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace all my t's with the 4. So now I get negative 16 times 4 squared plus 68 times 4 plus 2. And all I did, just like we did in the previous example, I'm finding h of 4 instead of h of t, so all my t's turn into 4's. And now I'm just going to evaluate this expression. H of 4 equals negative 16 times 4 squared is 16. Remember, you got to square this before you multiply, follow your order of operations. Plus 68 times 4 plus 2. So now I'm going to have h of 4 equals, and then I need to do negative 16 times negative 16. Remember, a negative times a negative is a, or negative times a positive is a negative. So I get negative 256. And then I'm going to just do all the multiplication at once. Then I've got plus 68 times 4. So I get positive 272 plus 2. And then I can just combine all my like terms at the end. And when I do that, negative 256 plus 272 plus 2 gives me positive 18. So h of 4 equals positive 18. Now, looking at my second part, I've got 2 of h of g. Now this one may seem a little trickier because now I've got this variable. But it's really not going to be that much harder. So the first thing, let's find what h of g is. Now what I want you to think about is, what did I just replace the t with? Instead of finding h of t, I'm now finding h of g. So what am I going to replace all of my t's with? I'm going to replace them with a g. So now it's going to be negative 16 g squared plus 68 times g plus 2. All my t's just turned into g's. And now that I know what h of g is, I can do this problem. 2 times h of g. It's going to be 2 times h of g is negative 16g squared plus 68g plus 2. And hopefully you recognize that I could distribute the 2 to each of these things. 2 times negative 16g squared gives me negative 32g squared. 2 times positive 68g gives me positive 136g. 2 times positive 2 gives me positive 4. And there I just found out what 2h of g is. It's negative 32g squared plus 136g plus 4. Seems complicated, but just remember, whatever you replace the t with in these problems, that's what, on the left side, that's what you replace the t's with on the right side as well. If you remember that, these problems aren't bad at all.